everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am here getting ready to work with this month's mixed media kit. In this month's kit, you will find a package of some flaky texture paste from Seth Apter, 3 PearlEx powders, a baggie of art stones, a 3-pack of Tim Holtz mini stencils, and from Dress My Craft, some transfer me's and a package of coaster blanks. My project isn't overly complicated, I don't think. I wasn't entirely certain what I wanted to do with my coasters besides make them coasters. So to start, I used some heavy white gesso from my stash just to seal up one side of those coaster blanks. Once that gesso had dried, I just randomly picked out the stencils, lined them up on the coasters 2 at a time so that I could use all 3 stencils in just a random variety, just crossing over. I really just wanted a little bit of texture on, I just wanted a little bit of the texture on my coaster blanks. While my texture paste was still wet, I just sprinkled on a little bit of the MicroPearl PearlEx powder and watered it down. And then I just let everything air dry. This is when I decided that I wanted to go full coaster making process. I already had these silicone molds in my stash. I've had them for a while. So I pulled them out and set them up. Mixed up my epoxy resin, and my first layer, I didn't worry about coating everything. I wanted a little bit. I just wanted it to puddle, however it felt like puddling. After I let that resin set up, and you can see how it just formed itself there initially. I cut apart the transfer sheet, or I cut apart the sheet from the transfer me's, and then I just picked out which ones I wanted to use. I held them up to the light so I could, since it is a white transfer on a white background, the light just helped me see where the design was. And then I just stuck them onto the resin that had already hardened. Got the paper backing wet and peeled it off, and then came in and started adding more resin. This batch of resin I split up into 3 smaller cups, and I mixed in the 3 different PearlEx powders, and then just drizzled them on randomly. Let the color flow however it wanted, mixed together really however it wanted. And then just to fill in any extra gaps, I added some of the clear resin that was still mixed up in the larger cup. And I pressed my coasters into them, let it just flow over the backs if I needed to, and spread it out across the back just to give a good seal on the MDF coasters. And here is my coasters. This is how they have set up. This is how the resin with the PearlEx powders mixed together just naturally. The original little pieces of resin that I had put the first set of transfers on, as you can see, it makes it look like it's a bubble in there. Kind of like an air bubble in there, gives it some depth. So now I am adding more of those transfers to the surface of my coasters just because I wanted to add another layer, a top layer. And after I have these in place, then I am just going to come in and I use some more resin and I use my hands and I just give it a very light coating. I don't really want it to fill up the edges because the coaster molds do make it so that there is like that spill catch edge on these coasters. So I didn't want to fill that up. but I did want to protect the new layer of transfers I had put on. There were some air bubbles. It was between the transfer, that first transfer, and the silicone mold. So I was able to I just kind of poked it out and cleaned it out and then refilled it. And I wasn't worried about air holes from the beginning, because at least by the time I had started working with the silicone molds, I knew that I would probably be coming back to this side of the coasters and shining them up and adding a final layer to them. So those air pockets that were created, I just cleaned out, filled up with the resin, and now when you look at them, if they really look like, I think they really look like they have spills on them already. I like the movement of the various layers that I have. And here they are. That last layer that I was putting on has finished drying. You can see along the edge, you can see some of that texture paste, the stenciling showing through a little bit. This is basically the end of the process. I'm not going to be adding any more details. I will probably clean up the edges a little bit, smooth them out. I'll make sure that it's smooth, possibly come back in and just add another very fine layer of epoxy resin until I'm happy with how the surface is. And as a bonus, the bottoms of these are actually also pretty cool. They kind of look kind of beachy and wavy. The unfinished MDF looks like the sand. I hope that you enjoyed my coaster making project using this month's mixed media kit, and it gave you some ideas of what you can do with the coaster set and the mediums in this month's kit. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications if you haven't already. Give us a thumbs up and feel free to share this video. Thank you, and I will see you again next week.